Hello and welcome to this lecture. Today we are going to discuss about angina, and I am going to start my today's lecture with one of the animation and that I found for you. So first of all we need to understand what is angina, and the main definition when we talk about angina, that it is the obstruction, we can say atheromatous obstruction of the large coronary vessel. If we define angina pectoris, it is actually atheromatous obstruction of the large coronary vessel. And why this occurs? Because of the atheromatous plaque or atheroma, or in simple words there is a formation of the plaque. And plaque we already discussed in pathophysiology, in pathology, that it could be occur because of the presence of cholesterol or triglyceride. So if you take a look of this animation, you found that the blood flow is very important, and the blood need to be flow freely in the healthy coronary artery. Why? Because the blood is essential to supply the oxygen to the tissues. So if there will be no blood flow, like if you see in this animation that there is a decrease of the blood flow because of the atheromatous or plaque formation, then the blood will not flow adequately inside the coronary arteries. And if the blood does not flow from the coronary arteries, then what will happen? It will block it and it result in angina pain. So that is very important thing we need to understand, that the number one, there will be the formation of plaque, and that plaque will result in obstruction of the blood vessel, blood artery, and when the blood will unable to flow, the flow will be reduced, then oxygen will be not supplied to the tissues, and if the blood is not supplied to the tissues, the oxygen deficiency will occur, and if the oxygen deficiency will occur, then it leads to cell tissue destruction. And then when it start destruction, then when you feel, the patient feel the pain. And if you take a look of this picture, the reduced oxygen, what will happen on the broader view, it result in two type of angina. One is chronic angina, which sometimes chronic stable angina or unstable angina. And why this occur? As I mentioned, because oxygen is not getting by the tissues, because blood flow will be reduced, and then as a result the tissues start dying, and then the angina is the sign actually that your heart need more oxygen. Why? Because sometimes if a patient is doing a lot of exercise, sometime during stress, in these conditions it could trigger the angina. So we will discuss today in this lecture. So let's see the topic. So let's start with the case study, and when we take a look at the case study, we will understand how this occurs, what is angina pectoris. A 64 years old white female with a history of hypertension, diabetes, dyslipidemia and cerebral vascular accident present to the clinical, complaining of chest pain that occurred several times over the past few weeks. She described her chest pain as a heaviness and state the discomfort first occurred while carrying her granddaughter to her second floor bedroom. So in the second statement, in this statement, they are talking about that she is doing activity, and we already mentioned that sometimes the angina pain occur when somebody is doing some excessive exercise or stress. So in this case she is doing some activity, that's why she experienced in this case. And we mentioned the second thing is that she is very old, 64 years old, and then she already have some complication of hypertension, diabetes and dyslipidemia, and these conditions can increase the risk of angina pectoris. So the conditions or clinical presentation is very clearly evident. Then since then she experienced the same heavy sensation while walking in the shopping mall and carrying laundry upstairs. So the pain was located in the substernal area and was associated with tingling down on the left arm and dyspnea. Dyspnea is shortness of breath, we all know, and in each instance the pain was resolved after about 5 minutes of rest. So this maybe leads to angina, so we will study in this case in detail. When we discuss about angina pectoris, we already discussed in the animated video about the important thing that it is the reason behind the angina pectoris is atheromatous plaque or obstruction of the large coronary vessels, and the chest pain occur by the accumulation of the metabolites resulting from myocardial ischemia. So the atheromatous plaque could be like the deposition of the cholesterol or triglycerides. So how many type of angina we have? We have three main type of angina. One is stable angina, which could be called as chronic angina as well. It is defined as an inadequate blood flow in the presence of coronary artery disease. Or we also have unstable angina, which occur when episode angina occur at rest, mean the patient is not doing any activity exercise. Like in the previous case study we see looking that the patient is moving and activities, and then she is facing the angina, whereas in this case the patient is at rest but facing the angina. Then the third one is the variant angina. It could be occur because of the transient spasm of the localized portion of the large coronary vessels. So if we need to understand or we need to revise the anatomy of the coronary vessel, I will show you the picture and then we just revise the anatomy and then we just move ahead. This lecture is an introductory lecture. We are going to revise the anatomy and some functions, and then we will move on to the pharmacology. So this is the anatomy of the coronary arteries of the heart, and we can see that on the left side we have the right coronary arteries, right marginal arteries, then left coronary arteries, we have circumflex arteries, and then the left marginal arteries, and then the left anterior descending arteries, and then we have diagonal arteries, and their function is to supply the blood to the heart tissues, which is very important for pumping the blood to different parts of the body. So that's the anatomy, and actually the obstruction occur here, narrowing of the arteries occur because of the plaque formation, atheromatous formation, and that result in the angina. So what will be the primary cause of the angina? It could be caused because of the imbalance between the oxygen requirement of the heart muscles and the oxygen supply through the coronary vessels. I already mentioned in the animated video. It could be stable angina, where the imbalance occur when the myocardial oxygen requirement increases. Why the myocardial requirement increases? Because of exercise, and the coronary blood vessels does not flow properly, and that imbalance could result in what will happen, that there will be oxygen will be less supplied, and then what happen, and then patient feel angina pain. And how can we solve that problem? We can increase the oxygen supply and increasing the delivery, or you can say the increasing the flow, especially the coronary flow. Or in other words, we need to decrease the oxygen demand. That's the way that we can correct this problem. And when we talk about the angina, we need to see that we need to maintain the heart rate is very important, because if the heart rate is too high, too increase of the heart rate, then it could leads to less oxygen to the supply to the heart muscles. So we have to understand, because if there will be more increase of the heart rate, more increase of the contractility, then it will increase the requirement for oxygen as well. So for example, when you do activity, we play the games, you do exercise, and the heart rate will be increases, then obviously oxygen requirement also increases. So the best thing is that need to reduce the heart rate, decrease the heart rate, so that the oxygen requirement will be less required. But when we talk about unstable angina, sometime it could be occur at rest. So this is more severe complication when there will be unstable angina. So we need to understand that the physical activities, exercise could affect the heart function, especially patients that are at old age, 60 plus years of age. So that's is very important. And what the drugs is doing in this case, that the drugs, like we will discuss in our next lecture about vasodilators, beta blockers and calcium blockers, they're trying to reduce the heart rate and decreasing the force, so that there will be decrease of the oxygen demand, and then that will improve the functions. So that's is very important, and we will discuss in detail in our upcoming lectures. So thank you so much for today's lecture. Hope to see you again.